walks out. It's like, Tracy, Tracy. And then he looks at it, and it's like a hallway of what I guess can only be a project. And it's like all a bunch of fucking crackheads running around and homeless people. And he's like, what the fuck's going on? And he runs back, and there's a brick wall. And he's like, Jesus Christ, Tracy, where are you? He turns around, because he hears, behind you. And there's angry-ass Mama.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just like, Mama. And he's happy to see her. And I'm like, why? Based on what's about to happen, there is no reason you should be happy to see your mother. So she says, maybe you don't hear so good. Maybe I clean your ears for you. And she's got this big fucking honking
ginormous Q-tip.
Fucking Q-tip. I'm like, that doesn't exist. I'm telling you right now, that does not exist. And this scene really bothered me when I was a kid, because I used to get really bad ear infections. For like a good 5 years of my life, I would get horrible fucking ear infections. So this scene fucking terrified me. I could not watch this well. But then she basically takes the Q-tip and he's like, no, Mama, please don't make me deaf. Don't make me deaf. I'm sorry. And he covers his head. And Freddy lifts up his head and goes, I'm not, and shoves the Q-tip in his head. And Carlos like, what the fuck? Screaming, whatever. And then pulls out the Q-tip, which would have killed him, because he's pulling it, because it went out the other side of his head. Pulls out the Q-tip, and it pulls out, like, I don't know what that little thing is on the end of it. I couldn't tell you what that's supposed to be, because he's not deaf yet.
Yeah.
Because Freddy literally says, hey, Carlos, lend me your ear, and then cuts off the ear with the hearing aid.
Yeah.
And then throws him through the brick wall. And then he falls down the stairs. He can't hear shit. And then he's looking around like, where is he? Where is he? And then Freddy's up top, because he's in the boiler room now. And then Freddy's on a girder.
Like, he goes down, like, several flights of stairs. And then
exactly.
And Freddy's up top.
And he's also running down, because he doesn't know where the guy is, because he wants his hearing back. And then he drops to his knees, like, give me my hearing back, screams it out. And then Freddy
and, like, give me my hearing back! Like, he's, like, in Macbeth or something.
Yeah, it is, again, it's a choice.
Yeah.
And then Freddy drops the hearing aid, and he runs and grabs it, and then immediately, like, things start shooting out of his ear, and it like, sort of grafts onto his face, so that he can't get it out, and it's, like, turned up to 11, and it's, like, loud, and all you're hearing is bang, 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 where is it, where is it? And it's actually a dripping faucet dripping into
little
a puddle,
driplets.
and that's what's making the sound, so it's turned up way too high. I have to point out something that Ricky Dean Logan said that makes me want to slap him. He talks about how difficult the makeup process was. He's like, I mean, it sucked. I had to be in makeup for like 4 hours to get this done every day. And I'm like, tell that to Robert Englund, asshole. That's all I'm saying. Anyway.
Well, just because someone has a harder time doesn't mean he can't complain about his hard time as well.
I mean, it's not cool to say it in the same scene with the guy whose face is covered and all that shit. That bugs me. But anyway, I digress. So, he's hearing this, and then this is where this is a weird thing that they do, because first of all, okay, so Freddy's back up top, and because he stops the faucet from going, and everything's great, and Freddy's up there, and pulls out a pin from his thumb. Why he has a pin in his thumb, I don't know. But he does.
Yeah, he couldn't just produce it like,
No, it's in his thumb. I don't know why. As a kid, I thought that was normal. I'm like, Freddy must have pins in his hands. I don't know why, but I guess he did. Turns out, nope, that scene comes out of nothing. So then, it's the whole thing. And there was an ad around this time that used that you can hear, it's so quiet you can hear a pin drop. I don't remember what it was for, but I remember that distinctly. So this was clearly, I mean, of course it's an old saying, but it was clearly playing off of this ad that was fucking everywhere.
Right.
So he drops the pin, and it's like very, very fucking
It sounds like
loud.
a bomb. Like,
yeah. It's the...
Yeah.
Can't whistle well, but, you know.
Yeah.
And then he manages to catch it before it lands. So Freddy produces a handful of fucking pins.
Which didn't come out of his hands. He just had them.
He just had it. And my question is, never fucking occurred to me until this time I watched it. And Carlos is like, you wouldn't do that, man, would you? And there's two questions I have about this. A, how did he see what was in his hand? He's holding it, and he's like looking straight up. You wouldn't see that there were pins in his hand. But I'll give him the benefit of the doubt if you just guess what's going on. My question is, based on what's just happened, You wouldn't do that, man? Really?
Hey, man, be cool.
Yeah, like, I'm sorry, guy who just cut off my ear. Don't do that to me. You stabbed a Q-tip through my head, you cut off my ear, but this is too far. And Freddy will just be, you're right. Sorry. You go now. Do.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, like...
I have been such a dick.
Like, at this point, is your move not to keep running?
Yeah.
But no, he's just like, okay, I'm fucked. And he drops all the pins, and then Carlos just sort of covers his head and like, I hope I don't die. And then gets up, and he somehow survives it fine.
Although, by the way, he survives all those ones, so the one dropping wouldn't have done nothing to him.
Yeah, he would have been fine. It's a pointless thing. But he's like, oh, sorry, I forgot about, again, more proof that Freddy Krueger is Bugs Bunny at this point. When Carlos was walking around deaf, Freddy
he's
was
like
jumping around behind him
and
like screaming like, hey, Carlos, and fucking nothing. Again, he's Bugs Bunny, accept it. And then he runs off and literally does a hop into the end. I'm like, oh, he's a cartoon character at this point. So then Carlos is like, where the fuck? He's not here. And he's backing up and he bumps right into Freddy. We don't even do a jump scare, just bumps into him.
Yep.
And Freddy's like, oh. And he pulls out a chalkboard. And literally it's like, and he makes it wider, and he's dancing, ooh, and pulls it up, and so that it's like a full giant-ass chalkboard. And he's got the hugest shit-eating grin on his face. And this is one of the reasons I absolutely love Robert Englund, because he's having way too much fun doing this. So then... He's holding up a chalkboard, and you're like, well, what the fuck's this all about? And then he pulls out the pinky like, who picks that one? Picks out the pinky of the bladed glove, and holds it up to the chalkboard, and immediately Carlos is like, no, and he does it, and it's fucking the loudest nails on a chalkboard ever, and he's freaking the fuck out, and he looks up, and Carlos's nose is bloody. And then Freddy... not to outdo himself, just starts scratching and humping the chalkboard, just fucking enjoying himself. And by this point, Carlos's face starts looking like the house it's now bubbling. And then his head explodes. Freddy catches the ear and says, nice hearing from you, Carlos. This movie's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So that happens.
Then John and Maggie go to the orphanage.
Mm-hmm.
And we have another creepy adult who's singing Skip to Malou, talking to imaginary children.
Well, she starts out by, being like, no running or whatever, and then John tries to talk to her, and it's just like, hey, do you remember me? And she says, of course I do. I remember all my children, especially you. And he turns to Maggie, who at this point had never been here. She's like, okay. And then she goes, I remember you, and I remember you, and Maggie just rolls her eyes. Like,
yeah,
okay,
she's like, yes, you and because he's just like, oh, he remembers me, and me, and the 50 imaginary children that aren't here.
Let's get the hell out of here. And then he pulls out a drawing that, I'm like, bullshit. That drawing is 30 years old. It looks like it was drawn yesterday.
Yeah.
Fuck you. But it's a drawing of a family. Apparently, Freddy only ever wore one shirt, because they drew the dad as Fred Krueger wearing the red and green striped shirt. So apparently this is all he ever wore.
Well, he's wearing it.
And a picture of the kid, and it just says K. Krueger.
And he's like, Kevin,
and
Kyle.
Like, it could mean, he says it could mean anything from Kevin to Kyle. And she says, all it means is that there was a child here by that name. It doesn't mean it's you. Fuck off. And then they're just like,
egotistical prick.
Let's get the hell out of here. Because by this point, Tracy's already found Carlos's hearing aid on the table upstairs, because he's gone now. And she tries to talk to Spencer, and Spencer is not smoking weed.
No.
Spencer is on acid. It's the only thing that can ever make sense of what is about to happen.
Yeah. Because she runs into them, like, okay, we need to find... I lost Carlos, and Spencer's out of commission.
Spencer's wasted in this old house. We need to get back. Because Spencer, before he passes out, sees on the broken TV...
Which Tracy sees as broken, and he sees as just people.
Well, no, he saw it as broken first.
Yeah.
And then there's a fucking bunch of dead kids, like fucking...
zombies.
And then Carlos tries to break through, and it's just like, Spencer, don't fall asleep, man. Get out, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, hey, Carlos, we were just looking for you. And he's like, Spencer, you stupid stoner. And then this is when Tracy finds them, and it's just like... And John's like, we gotta find him before Freddy does. And Tracy's like, who's Freddy? I'll tell you on the way, let's go. And Maggie's like, the fuck? God damn it! So then they go back. Spencer wakes up. And Spencer's like, he wakes up to somehow the TV's now working. And you get the color bars, which is a thing, kids, that used to happen back in the day when networks would go off the air. They would put up the color bars, which is basically just a bunch of different colors and a long droning buzz sound. Yes. That does not exist anymore from my knowledge. So he gets woken up and he sees a teen idol of the time. Because he was a fucking teen idol of the time, and that was sort of the reason they did it.
Mr. Jonathan Depp.
Mr. Johnny Depp. Or Oprah Noodle Mantra, if you will. And
if you're nasty.
If you're nasty. And then he does the old PSA that everybody's heard a million times of, this is your brain. This is your brain on drugs. And he breaks the fucking egg and
fries it.
He's frying it up and he's like, questions? Bing! He gets hit in the face with it and Freddy just says, yeah, what do you want? Looks like a frying pan and some eggs to me. Hey, Spence, let's trip out. Then fucking Inagata-Devita starts.
I'm like, I have smoked weed before.
Yeah, it has never happened. And believe me, the first time I smoked weed, I was hoping for this. Because I knew about this, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm going to hear Inagata-Devita, and my TV's going to fucking come at me. But it didn't.
What do you mean Freddy sold me a false bill of goods? This is bullshit.
And I found out that this movie is telling lies, too, because people who have a lot of THC in their blood don't dream. They don't hit REM sleep.
You're just out.
So all of this is nonsense. So anyway, but he's fucking like, it's all fucking colors everywhere. It's a hippie's paradise.
Yeah.
It's tie-dye, and it's fucking, the TV comes towards him and sucks him in. And this is where Maggie, Tracy, and John Doe show up. And they're looking for him. They can't find him. Like, what the fuck's going on? Like, where is he? Now, like, because they run in and Tracy goes, now he's gone. What the fuck? And then this is when we cut to what is happening to Spencer.
Video game!
First of all, I want this game. Because we have the technology now. But, so he's in Asshole Mario? I mean, it's clearly a Mario-related idea because it's a lot of tubes and shit, although there are rats coming around.
Yeah.
But it's Carlos, or Spencer, as himself, and he's like, what the hell? And then,
not even video game Spencer, just him proper Spencer.
Yeah, and then he hops over a mouse, or a rat.
A rat.
And then jumps down a tube, and then all you hear is, be like me. And it's a small version of, it's a version of his dad that's roughly bigger than him, dressed in like, the epitome of, waspy clothing of a tennis outfit. And he hits him with a tennis racket, and Spencer goes flying into a tree. Whew. And Freddy's, says father knows best. And, so Spencer
gets an apple.
He hits the tree, an apple falls into his lap, and he bites it, and he says, Super Spencer, and he
does the double guns.
And he's glowy now, and he can shoot the dad. Oh no, sorry, he beats one. No, he doesn't. He doesn't actually hit anything.
He takes the racket.
He shoots the one. Oh no, he does. He shoots the racket and beats this one. And then the bigger guy is the one that hits Spencer. So then he fucking is Super Spencer, and he shoots the one twice, and it blows up. Then a bigger one shows up and just says, be like me. And Spencer's like, fuck. And then this is when Freddy says, first, now I'm playing with power. Which is the only one I would have thought Nintendo would have sued them for, because that was their slogan at the time.
That's later. Because he actually says,
does it say it after?
Great graphics.
I know he says great graphics, but I thought he said this first.
No.
Oh. Okay.
Because Maggie, Tracy, and John, Spencer comes flying through into the real world.
And John
Doe,
but
he's out,
having no fucking, this is perfectly normal to him, because he comes flying in through a window, because basically, in the game, Spencer is punching through bricks, and then goes flying through,
but he's still out.
He flies in through the window in the real world, and lands on the table, breaks it, and John, without missing a beat, just goes, found Spencer! And this is where Maggie has also gone out the thing, and found the water tower, like, oh my god, I'm here.
Yeah.
And then they do, and they're like, Spencer is getting the shit kicked out of him by Freddy, because now there's a video game version of Freddy attacking him. and he's whipping him with a towel, which is a callback to Nightmare 2 for some
Not
unknown fucking
in
reason.
a movie that people don't like already, don't call back to
Yeah.
a movie people don't like.
It is weird that that's where they went with that, but